structure and focus that you need. If you really want to get on and do things, you have to really focus on what is it that you want, and you do have to get laser focused.
The twisted message that you could get from this is that the only way you're going to be a good person is if you're constantly looking for self-development and constantly looking to improve yourself.
When things are hard, we want to go distracted. We want to do like go and look at funny cats. I don't know what cat sticks are not right, but we want to look at funny cat videos or whatever it might be, because it's just, it's easier, isn't it? It's like, I just want to get through the day or whatever. But
every people have different ways of dealing with things, and that's my distraction. My distraction is removing all distractions and just chilling out. Inspiration Nation, hello. It's me, Ryan Boniface, back again for another week on the podcast. Joined just by Joe this week, because as you probably would have worked out by now, Lee usually does this stuff. It's just Joe and I this week. Back for another week of fun, inspirational conversation or of the like. Thank you very much for joining us. If you are listening to us on a audio platform, then be sure to give us a review, preferably 5 stars, but we'll take any and all feedback that you've got for us. If you're watching this on YouTube, then if you can, slap a thumbs up on it and leave us a comment and let us know what you like or dislike. If you want to catch us at any of our social media links, that it's at listen to in, which is listen TOIN rather than the number 2, and that will get you us on Instagram and Twitter. And Joe directly is at Jose Noya _InspirationNation. I think if you just slap Jose Noya into your social media app or Google, will pop up, or Joe specifically will pop up. Lee has skipped out on a rather opportune week, as it is, I believe, his subject week. So we're going to have to pick that up again.
We'll pick up with him, won't we?
We'll have to have a conversation. But I think Joe's got a subject for us this week because I was inequipped. So what have you got for us, Joe?
So the subject this week is, so it's really interesting actually, because I was going to tell you a bit backstory about how I come up with the subject. When you said, what we can do for the subject, it came up, right? So I was editing the podcast this week, and do you know what I decided to do? I got an idea, and I tell you what, I'm going to go live on TikTok. So thank you guys on TikTok for joining. Really appreciate you. And what I did is it came to my mind that we get so distracted all the time. Like, we're doing one thing, something comes along, we get distracted. So today is about the reasons why we get distracted. While we're doing one thing, especially when maybe we're not at work. I mean, you can get distracted at work, especially if you're working from home, you can be distracted. But I want to talk about the time when we get distracted on our social media. Like even when, I was doing my podcast, I was talking on TikTok, and even now I can see on TikTok already, we've got Alan West joined, right? Joined and then left. The join left. And this is what I've been finding. Now, when I did my TikTok on Saturday, I had like probably about 10, 20, 30 people come in and out, but there were about 2 or 3 people that actually stayed. So the ethos of that was, this is the problem we have, is that we don't tend to stick with anything. We'll tend to get distracted. We'll come and is there anything of value here? I don't know, I'm going to go. Or you just think, I don't like that, I'm going to go off. But you could be missing something great, because the whole point of focus and the whole point of goal setting is about not getting distracted from what you're meant to do. And what I did in that particular live was what I said. So if you want to achieve something, you've got to have a clear goal. It's got to be clear. It's got to be measurable. It's got to be super clear, because if you don't have anything to aim for, you're not going to head and aim for anything. But the other important factor about your goals is to make sure that you start with the end in mind, and then you have some actionable something. And the problem is that people have massive actions, or they have these tons of actions, or they say, I need all these resources, but they get distracted and they don't do that one little thing that will start them off. And I did reference in my live, and if you watch that, if any of you here on TikTok, I'm going live on TikTok now at the moment, if any of you did remember, is that there's a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And what he says, to make your habits stick and to make sure you follow through, is you make the action as easy as possible. I'm talking easy, and I think I've talked about it in the podcast before actually, where if you're going to go running, set out your clothes the night before so you can go out. I'm just going to say that GA8, hi to you as well. Thank you for sticking around. I appreciate that on TikTok, by the way. See, people are starting to stick. That's what I'm talking about. So that's what I'm talking about. What are your initial thoughts, Ryan, on that, what I've said just now? What's coming to mind?
I think on an app like TikTok specifically, when videos are generally 1 minute, but can be like, I don't know, 2-3 minutes, you're not having to give it a whole lot of attention. And if something isn't drawing you in, then you're going to look past it. And this is the same in advertising, I would argue, because if you're walking down, I don't know, Oxford Street in London or Times Square in New York, whatever, and you're surrounded by all these billboards. What is the place in London that has the electronic boards? Is that?
Oh, TikTok, do you know electronic boards? TikTok?
I should know. Trafalgar Square? Is it Trafalgar Square?
Yeah,
I've probably butchered that. But if you're British, you'll know what I mean. The road in London, it's got all the advertising billboards across the road, and loads of people take photos in front of it. If that advert does not tie you in and does not draw your attention and does not cast its spell on you, then you're not going to pay attention to it. And that's the same with our content, anyone's content on the internet. The exact same process applies. So essentially, Joe, if people aren't sticking around, and I'm going to be pretty blunt when I say this, it's because they might find you boring. But that's okay, because that's...
We've got 2 people sticking about. Thank you, guys. This is going to be really valuable content to stick about. It's going to get...
I'm not...
Give you some wisdom. Ryan's about to give you some awesome wisdom. Go on,
I'm not calling you boring, right? But
I get it.
Other people are not on TikTok for that content, right?
Yeah.
And the 2 people that have stuck around today might well be.
Yeah, 2 people.
They might be there thinking, what am I looking at and what am I listening to? This is funny. I'm going to hang around. But that's the draw, right? You've drawn them in, so that's the start of it. But if you can't retain anyone, and it's so much harder on somewhere like TikTok, as I've said, because it's so fast paced and so moving all the time. If you can't hold on to that audience on a normal social media app, I would say, like an Instagram or whatever, then that's a problem, because that means that you're not doing enough to keep them there. But what we do is a niche topic. Whilst the market is quite saturated with podcasts and motivational speakers and self-improvement teams or whatever, they're not really mainstream. You wouldn't walk down the street and you wouldn't say, I wouldn't walk up to someone and say, what's the motivational podcast you listen to? Because they'll look at you sideways. But if you said, do you know what the Joe Rogan podcast is, as an example, a lot more people are going to go, oh yeah, I know who that is. So that's my initial view. I'm not calling you boring, but as I say, it's a easy trap to fall into, especially on such a fast-paced app like TikTok.
Yeah, agreed. And like even now, I can see 1 join here, 1 go off, come off at 0, and then someone said hi, and you see join, leave, and it is about this, and you're right. And I think this is what I really want to get the message out there. And you're right. To some people, I'm going to be really boring. I'm going to be boring, but some people really like it. It just depends. You've got to find your people. And it's what we're trying to do on TikTok. We're trying to find our people that are really interested in wanting to, have something for their lives and really aim for that, and not have this get distracted, because it is a hard thing, right? It's a hard thing to stick with something. It's really difficult, isn't it? It's like, well, I could stick around and listen to Joe and Ryan, but I'm a bit bored. I'm going to go and watch a cat jump over a fence or start rolling on its back and it does something weird. But the problem with that is that what does that actually do for you? And that's what I really want to get in the world. I want people to live happy lives. Now,
I think...
happy. Go on, Ryan.
If I jump in just there, I think when people are on places like TikTok and Instagram, they're not always looking for value. They're just looking for something to pass the time, to see what their mates are up to. Yeah. If it's that type of social media, or to see something funny, or maybe something interesting about something they've never thought of, which is maybe the sort of content we can provide. But people aren't coming onto TikTok to self-develop. And people aren't necessarily going onto Instagram to self-develop, unless that's exactly what they're looking for. People won't find our content out of nowhere and go, this is cool, I'll follow that. They're more likely to follow, what woodworking wonders people can make with, different types of wood or whatever, because that's a more visually pleasing thing to watch, right? So I'm not saying we're doomed to fail. It sounds like I'm being really negative. I'm not, but
I think
it,
you're being.
I think it's difficult for us to do well because people aren't looking for things like this with us. They're not looking for our content. But there are people that find us are specifically looking for us or looking for that type of content to ingest.
Well, I can tell you something, Ryan. We've got someone who followed us. Eddie Sandmore 123 JQJ has followed us. So there you go. Someone.
Nice.
Big fan 2021 has said hi. Lady J Sar has just joined. Thank you and welcome. So, although I agree. I think it's just about really finding those people, but it's going to take time. It's going to take. I'm going to just a little bit on the TikTok side. I actually do follow motivational, inspirational pieces on TikTok. They are there. They're just not the main. They are there. If you want to get that, it is there. You've got to look for it. So I would say
that's the driver, though. If you want to find it, it's there. Yeah,
but you want a better life. Look for stuff that's going to add value to your life. Like, don't just go on cat videos. Yeah, and I get it. Look, we want some downtime. I do the same. But after this, I'm going to get onto, I'm probably going to chill out. I'm going to watch an hour of Netflix or something, just so I chill out for the evening. But the majority of your time should be spent trying to develop who you are so you get the life that you want. And that's really what I do on TikTok. We've actually got 3 people here. We've got Jojo 2321 saying hello. This is the most, actually, I think this is the most interaction we've had on TikTok since we've gone live, actually. So thank you very much, guys, for joining. Welsh Boy 2001 just joined. Loads of people. Style 19631 just joined. Got 3 people on and actually stayed. So hello, Jojo 2321. I think I've just said that, but there you go. So we are getting people joining, and I think that's that whole thing. And guys, I just reach out to TikTok. If you've got any questions for Brian or me, please put them in the chat, and we will actually answer your question. This is the personal development inspirational podcast, and you're actually going to be recorded live on our audio. So this is going to go on our podcast, isn't it, Ryan? And there you can listen to this back when it goes live. So do it. So please do that. Thanks for love as well. There's a lot of love going on in here as well. Getting love, Ryan. Would you believe this? First hearts we've actually ever had on TikTok.
Nice.
So. I know what we're saying, right? But there are people out there that want this stuff. So it's really,
of course. I'm not saying that people aren't out there to get it.
But there is, right? It's a minority, right? We want to build minority into majority, right? So our mission is to build this into, instead of people watching cats, we want people to listen to and watching inspirational things to make their lives better. Maybe if we did a voiceover of cats doing stupid stuff, we might get more interaction. Ryan, can I leave you as the chief of that? Because I think you'd be really good at it.
On the subject of Netflix, have you started Tiger King 2 yet?
I have started it, to be
fair. I haven't. Is it good?
I started it, but I struggle with it.
Is it not good? You didn't really like the first one, though, did you?
Well, I did. I enjoyed the first one. I had to stick with it for a bit, but maybe you have to give it a try. But I might have to give it a work.
I've not had much time to check that out yet, but I will do.
But so go on. You're going to say something?
No. All you.
So this distraction thing, we get distracted quite easily, and I think guys here on TikTok, Ryan and I are really dedicated, and Lee, we're dedicated to spreading the message for people to really start to look at their lives. We want you to have a goal, and on Saturday, if you watched me on Saturday, I asked you guys, and if you joined again, if you're listening again, we come on every week, every Tuesday, right? We come on, but I might pop up on a weekend. I set some homework. I'm going to set some homework for you right here on the podcast, and homework for you here on TikTok. Thank you for joining. Is your goal. I want you to set a goal. I want you to set a goal that's measurable for you, stretched. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be tough. But what is it that you want? When you write it down, what do you want? And I want you to write out what you want. So that's going to be my homework. And right at the end, I just want to, can you remind me just to make sure that someone sets an action, because it's so important to set the action that we do that. But the thing about this is that when things are hard, we want to go distracted. We want to do go and look at funny cats. I don't know why cats keep you up, Ryan, but we want to look at funny cat videos or whatever it might be, because it's just, it's easier, isn't it? It's like, I just want to get through the day or whatever. But if you really do want to have that life, you do have to minimize distractions. You have to be focused. And of course, some downtime, but you need that focus. So focus is the key, and actions is the key if you want to get on. I mean, look at this podcast, for instance. We are now, almost 2 years, right, Ryan?
No, we're well over 2 years.
3 years?
We're coming round to 3 years. Yeah, I think, what is this? 141. So what's that? 3 years would be 156. So we're about 3 months short of 3 years.
That is not far away. But any further thoughts on that, Brian, about distraction? I mean, what do you think? Because
I think people go on social media in their leisure time to be distracted deliberately. But I would understand, and I mean this in no disrespect, that would be hard for you to understand, being that you're not of this generation. I know you can see the value. I know you, well, say the value. I know you can see the benefit in it, I guess, because you've just said yourself that you'll peruse TikTok or other social medias, etc. But for a lot of people younger than I now, this is all they've known. So if they've had a hard day at school or a hard day at work or whatever, then this is their escape, you know, making TikToks or watching TikToks or in group chats with friends or on Twitter or whatever. That is, for a lot of people, their downtime, you know. So I think, I think some people, seek out social media to be distracted deliberately. That doesn't mean that they can't take things away from it. In the same way that, you know, we go to work or whatever, and we might learn something, but we didn't wake up to specifically learn something, but we've just picked something up along the way, and you know, that's that. And this works in the same way. I think that I think there's a twisted message that you could get from this, is that the only way you're going to be a good person is if you're constantly looking for self-development and constantly looking to improve yourself. And that isn't always the case. I mean, actually, it's never the case. I don't think. I think if you can take the time to realize how you feel about things or what you want to do, that's as good as any. I've openly talked on this podcast about maybe taking a day every fortnight or a couple of days a month where they're just chill days for me. You know, I'll order a takeaway, and I'll watch a film, or I'll turn my phone off, or I'll just zone out for a while or whatever. Excuse me again. And that just keeps me going, you know. But people have different ways of dealing with things, and that's my distraction. You know, my distraction is removing all distractions and just chilling out. But somebody else's could be sitting in a room that's plastered with newspapers, reading 5 articles at a time, because that's how they absorb things, that's how they do things. You know, not one person's way of relaxing or distracting themselves from real life is going to be right for you, and it's not going to be the same as anybody else's either. So just take that time to find out what works for you.
Yeah, and I get that, and that's why I have my little downtime in the evening. And I think got Smelly Nelly joined as well, so we'll have that. So and someone's watching, so that's great. But yeah, and I think you're right. I think you have to have that time to look after yourself. I think we looked at, and if you guys on TikTok and on the podcast, you remember that I did take a break. I took a break from my daily videos. I don't do them anymore, so I've got lots of content now, which I put out still put content every day, but it's slightly different. It's more around the podcast, more focused about the podcast. It's more focused, more laser focused on what I think we need to be putting out there. So for you guys, you know, you've got to minimize it. Don't, you know, get distracted, have that downtime and have that time for you to have that fun, because you need fun, right? We need to have that fun and engagement, but also there's that structure and focus that you need. If you really want to get on and do things, you have to really focus on what is it that you want, and you do have to get laser focused. I mean, for me, what I do is when I'm on my social media, it's all following accounts that are all about personal development in that type of world, because I want to be in that crowd. I want to be in that type of people that are helping deliver the message to the world, that we can live happier lives. We do difficult things. We do the things that challenge us. And we do those things with a sense of, you know, purpose, and that it's really what we want. Not because we want this, you know, not because I just want to be famous for whatever. It's about what is it that really matters to you? What do you really love? What do you really enjoy? And if you do that, it's going to take work. It's going to be exciting at first, but then it's going to be really difficult, because sometimes it's not going to take off, sometimes it's going to work. So I'll take this podcast for the exact same reason, the podcast, right? We started, it's all excited. Now it's got to this stage where, you know, we have to really put in an effort to put this out every week, but we know we're on a mission, right?
Yep.
But that's how things get built. Like when you look at great stories like Elon Musk and SpaceX and things like, if you look at his story, he had 3 rockets that blew up, right? And he could just give up and not. So the whole thing is perseverance and focus about what you want. And that's what he focused on. So all the great sort of entrepreneurs, they usually have a really difficult story, and it all comes that they minimize distraction. Of course, have a little bit of distraction, right? Everybody does. I think Elon Musk went on the Joe Rogan podcast, right? I think that's quite a famous one. But then when you look at his schedule, when you look at what he wants to do, his mission, which he's not distracted from, is he wants a backup planet for Earth, essentially to put people on Mars. And I think that's so inspirational. He basically said, and I was watching an interview with him, he basically says, well, so Elon, why is it that you want to like have this? You know, why do you want to go to Mars? I said, well, I want to wake up in the morning being excited about the future. I want to do something that's exciting, gets me inspired and gets other people inspired. And I think when I listen to that, I thought, that inspires me, like to think that someone on this planet is thinking that massive. That's inspiring, and I want to add to that conversation. I want to help that. So if I could, you know, if someone's listening to this podcast right now and thinking, I would like to get involved in rockets, get involved in rocket. You know, if that's something you want to get involved, why don't you start? Like that's how Elon started, right? He studied physics. He said studying physics, he started studying, and he wanted to get on the internet. And that's where it all started, really. He got involved in internet, physics, and that's where he started off. And he's built rockets, man. Like, that is what ultimate focus gives you, right? And he is like a bit of an anomaly because he can run 3 multi-billion-pound companies. I think he's got Boring Company, he's got SpaceX, and he's got Neuralink. Oh, he's got Tesla. Oh, sorry, 4. Anyway, 4 companies that are multi-billion. And he's like running, like, you've got to have laser focus for that. But that's what's inspiring to me. And this is what, if you want to achieve goals, think about these people that are doing this, but dial it down to small and do your small actions. And when you see success, that's what it's about. It's an action and less in distractions because you're really focused on what you want to go. So if you don't know where you're going, if you don't have a goal, you don't know where you're going, you can end up anywhere. So it's about having something that you're aiming for. And you know what, Ryan, I just want to say to you, between us three, and Lee's not here, but I think we're on a mission, and I'm so happy we're on this mission together, and I'm really looking forward to pushing through those difficult times, right? Which I think we're in that sort of phase where it's like, okay, where is it going next? And let's keep going, putting one foot in front of the other, right? Mm-hmm. But any thoughts on anything I've said there, Ryan?
No, I think you've nailed it, to be honest. I think people at that level of the Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or Bill Gates or Mark Zukerberg or whoever, they make this stuff their whole life. And they do this stuff where, there would have been a time when they were at university or high school or whatever, and they would have got involved in self-improvement and self-development. And this would have been something that probably took over their lives, in the same way that we're kind of advocating that you guys spend that much time doing it as well. Not saying that if you spend 24 hours a day listening to Joe, Lee and I, that you're going to become the next Elon Musk, but I'm not saying that you won't either.
They could be, yeah, they could, right? It could be 88 Danny 888 could be the next Elon Musk, right? It could be, right?
On, yeah, Mike. Of course. There's no reason why that isn't the case. But also, you can be born into money and make a couple of right decisions and also reach that level as well. So the shoe works on both feet. So I understand it. But yeah, other than that, I think that's probably me covered off for that.
Yeah, well, Ryan. Yeah, and you know what? A lot of the success stories come from people who actually had hard times. I mean, I think Elon Musk dropped out of university. He dropped out. Bill Gates dropped out of university because they were so enamored by this vision they had. They were so driven. I mean, they were like driven on a crazy level, though. And if we can get a bit of that, if I could get a bit of, I was just thinking to myself, I know what you think, but if I get a 1% focus of Elon Musk, I'll be happy, because I think that 1% would go tons and tons of, so only to get 1% of that would be amazing. If I could apply a 1% Elon Musk to our podcast and, keep that vision and focus, this could, I'm sure it's going to go crazy. It's going to be great. And I want this podcast to go huge, and all three of us going on a tour and, having questions from the audience, right? So on TikTok, you've got any questions, please ask them. And then doing that sort of stuff, I think it'd be really exciting to do this forever. And we both got day jobs, haven't we? And we're doing this because we love it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
We don't have to do it, right?
No.
But we're doing it
because we want to help people improve themselves, right? So
how we doing fun, right?
We're pretty close, I think. I didn't quite clock the time that we started, to be honest, but I think we're pretty close, maybe 3-4 minutes.
Oh, okay. So what do you want to do? Do you want a bit of promotion? Do you want to wrap it up? Do you want to do a bit of takeaway?
I'll try the promotion because Leo will slap my hand if I don't. But I'm not the best at it. But
I love the honesty.
If you want to catch us on YouTube or on our podcast. If you literally just search for the Inspiration Nation podcast, we show up. If you're on YouTube, we want to look for Jose Noya, Inspiration Nation, because Joe's channel is the one that uploads all the podcasts, but audio wise, Inspiration Nation. And as I said at the start of the show, if you could leave us a review of any kind, we would be appreciative. Even happier if it will be a 5-star review, because that's perfect for us. But we'll take any development feedback or anything that you don't like or anything you want us to improve on. We'll happily take that on board as well. Joe's available at Jose Noya _Inspiration Nation on most social medias. Pretty much if you just put Joe's name into Google or into the social media app of your choice, his smiling face will appear. The podcast itself is at listen to TOIN, listen to IN, letters TO rather than number 2. We can be found on Instagram, Twitter, I believe we're on Facebook as well. Joe has a blog, which again, if you search his name to Google, you'll find the link for. If I remember rightly, the link's quite long, so I won't try and recite it. But on that website, there's a link to the store, some of Joe's historic blogs, a newsletter that he emails around. Our store has some merch in it. Joe's sporting one. We have some mugs with our logo on it. Anything that you want it's available there. But I think that's pretty much it in terms of a promotion cycle.
I just wanted to give us a quick shout out too, because Boomy Pegasus 81 has been sending love, saying we hope we have a great day. And
nice one, and you.
We send the same to you, Boomy Pegasus 81. Really appreciate the love, by the way. Thank you very much. Yeah, so definitely TikTok today. It's been a bit on fire today, which has been good. For sure.
Takeaway from me. You don't always have to be learning, but the more that you do learn, the further you'll probably go.
Love that. Yeah, I agree. If you can learn more, then you can actually do more, because you're adding to your skill sets and everything like that. And practice is another thing for that. If you're learning more, you're practicing, you're getting better, right? What's my big takeaway? My big takeaway is minimize distraction. Have some downtime, but minimize distraction. And the other one is have a goal, but make sure you start, whatever the goal is, make sure it's measurable, make sure it's very clear, and then have one small action you can do to it each day. One tiny action, I'm talking tiny, that's really achievable, so you feel like you're making progress. And that's the homework I want to leave for the guys this week. I want you to actually think of your goal and one action that you're going to take away. And I'd say, please leave it in the comments below the video. I don't know if they can do that on the podcast. Can they do that? Can they do anything on the podcast? I don't know. They can do it on the podcast.
Can do on YouTube.
Can do on YouTube, right?
But you could drop us a tweet, drop us an Instagram message at listen to IN, listen TOIN. I'll promote it one more time. Drop us a message there, and we'll pick that up ready in time for next week's episode for sure. Brilliant,
Ryan. You've done a good job. Ryan would be proud. Ryan, proud of yourself. Lee would be proud of you. You've done a good.
He has high expectations. I'm not sure he would.
Yeah, he will. We'll make sure. He listens to this back and watches it.
Cool. Well, that's pretty much up from us this week. If you have enjoyed, please leave a like rating or a review, as I mentioned just a second ago. We would heavily appreciate any feedback that you've got for us. And that's pretty much us for this week. We'll be back next week, Tuesday. If you're listening to us on TikTok, usually around 6 to 6:30. It's my schedule that ruins this, so I can't really give you a definitive time because it's my fault, so I apologize. But yeah, anytime between 6 and 6:30, keep an eye out for Joe being live, and we'll be here. But all that's left for us to say is Inspiration Nation. We'll catch you guys later.
So I want to know now, what's your biggest takeaway? Don't forget to hashtag it with Inspiration Nation in the comments below, and make sure you commit to action. Thank you for checking out. So don't forget you can catch all our other Inspiration Nation podcast episodes right over here. So go check them out. And also don't forget to subscribe, because that will tell you when your next video goes live by you hitting that amazing bell. So until next time, it's Inspiration Nation, and I'll see you right over there.